Thank you to the organisers for allowing Caspian to come along and present today, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time and coming to see the Caspian story. I'm going to reward you today with being the first people that I talk to about our latest drill results, which we are releasing on the ASX platform right now. So, Caspian has presented this forum before. I first introduced the Bygoo Tin Project here last year. It's been a fantastic 12 months for the company. We have never been healthier. We're in a very good financial position, and we've also had the opportunity to bring some very key, strong institutional shareholders onto the register recently as well. People with an appetite for tin. I talk about Farjoy, who are a significant family office here in Sydney, but we're also delighted to have Lion Selection Group on our register as well, who I'm sure you're familiar with. They primarily have a gold focus, but we are their tin stock of choice. Headley and his team are very astute investors, so if you don't necessarily understand what I'm talking about, Headley would be more than happy to explain their reasons for being on our register. And of course, we've had continuing support from our existing shareholders as well, and directors and management have also put their hands in their pockets over the last 12 months. So I'm going to talk mostly about the Bygoo Tin Project. We've actually consolidated the portfolio just recently. Mount Squires project, which if you're familiar with, is now gone. We've divested that to Agramin, primarily our scrip and royalty deal. We still held Yarrawinda, one of our legacy assets from our float 5 years ago. And I guess we've also got what I consider to be the third asset, which is a contingent payment deed over the West Musgrave asset in Western Australia. Now, it's not something I'm going to talk a lot about today. There are a small cohort of investors out there that are very familiar with it. I've mentioned it there. I've actually put it in the appendix on the presentation which we've lodged this morning. I'd be more than happy to talk to you more about that at the booth. So tin, for those that aren't familiar, tin is primarily used in solder, which means it is intrinsically linked to electrification. It's more or less the same thematic as copper. I've put the tin price there against copper. You can see that it's tracked quite nicely and in fact outperformed copper over the last 12 months. The original critical mineral, tin, was stockpiled by the US after World War II. History doesn't repeat, but often rhymes. So the key things that I want you to remember about tin are the price, currently hovering around the $50,000 a tonne mark, roughly 3.5 times the copper price. That's important when we start talking about grades of mineralisation. Tin supply and demand. Supply comes from mostly developing countries. What I've shown on this page here can be Googled. Anybody can look this up. I would suggest that tin production is flatlining or in fact in decline. Australia, one of the few first world countries that produces tin. It's a great opportunity for this country to be a world leader in tin production, a critical metal. And the reason we should do that is because demand is only going up. Yesterday, MST Financial, they talked about the growth in the US stock market being mostly around data centres, NVIDIA and the like. The growth projections for data centres are out of control. Absolutely amazing, but it's not. And so why is that? Why is data centres a proxy for tin? Because all those little semiconductors have to be glued together by solder, of which tin is the primary component. But it's not just data centres. There's tins being used in new solar cell technology, and I can only imagine what is going to happen with EV growth during this Middle East crisis. So the demand is there and the supply is not. So Bygoo Tin Project, it's a local story right here in the backyard of New South Wales. Fantastic agricultural region, resilient people, but also with a long history of mining, primarily in tin but also in gold, going back over 100 years. We've got a resource that we're going to talk about. We've got active drill programs, and we've also done some scoping level metallurgy, which is also very important when it comes to tin production. So this is what our resource looks like. It's a significant body of tin mineralisation, almost 20,000 tonnes of contained tin at 0.5%. Now remember, tin price about 3.5 times the value of copper. So 0.5% tin doesn't necessarily sound too much, but that would be about the equivalent of about 1.8% copper in an open pit scenario. So we shamelessly aspire to be Australia's highest grade open pit tin production mine in Australia, or on the ASX. Most of that resource is concentrated around previous drilling, the legacy drilling that we inherited when we picked up the project. We've done our own work as well, but most of it is still focused on that previous drilling, or limited by that previous drilling, which in turn was limited by where historical workings were occurred. The old timers back in the day mined 6% tin from very narrow grades, left what we consider to be high grade now behind. And that's where we see the opportunity. The mineralisation's hosted in a granite, which is modelled by that pink surface on the figure there. Lots of gaps. We're currently undertaking a drill program to expand this resource. We think there's great potential to grow it beyond that 20,000 tonnes. I think there's an opportunity here to probably grow it twice the size. And so, which leads us to today's announcement, the latest drill results out this morning. A fantastic result there in hole 33. A nice wide intercept, high grade, down about 75 metres down plunge from the existing resource envelope. So this is what we're doing at the moment. We're stepping out beyond the resource itself, and trying to find extensions for mineralisation and having success with that. So a fantastic result for the team. Really pleased to see that our ideas coming to fruition. The figure on the left, the background image there is an IP survey. That's been the other sort of big step forward for the company recently, is the fact that we think that we can now map these systems using IP. Now, IP is induced polarisation, for those that aren't familiar. It's not going to map mineralisation per se or directly, but we think it is mapping structure. And so think of these sort of systems as a gold system. What we're really looking for is structures intersecting or hitting lithology contrasts, in this case granite against the hanging wall volcanics. So this is a really powerful tool. IP technology has come a long way in recent decades. Certainly an advantage that we have that our peers many decades ago did not. So we think that's going to be very valuable for exploration going forward. And once you've got a deposit, it's really important to be able to extract the metal. We have done some early level, scoping level metallurgy. Now, the important things to recognise here is that we've got two options. We can do a gravity-only concentrate, which is relatively simple. It's a simple flow sheet. Means it's low capex, low opex. Basically just uses water and gravity to separate the high-density tin mineral cassiterite from the gangue. But if you're in a high tin price environment that we currently find ourselves in, where you want to maximise recovery, maximise NPV, you can also add a flotation circuit onto the back end of that and get over 80% recovery. That's a fantastic number. Compares very well to any other operating mine around the world today. So very encouraged by that. And I think you'll also hear more about ore sorting today as well. Ore sorting is just a proven technology. It works very well for tin systems because of the density contrast. We know that we've done initial sort of CITA work on this. We know that it will work. To what extent we apply ore sorting is for a later day, but we think that this will be part of the picture as well. So Kelpie is great. Kelpie deposit is great. We think there's a standalone operation there. But what we really want to do is restore the Ardlethan field back to its former glory. Back in the day, this was Australia's largest tin field on mainland Australia. And there are a number of opportunities within our project area. We surround the Ardlethan tin mine, which closed in 1986 when the tin price collapsed. Almost no exploration surrounding that mine for almost 40 years. It's hard to believe. And as you can see in that photo, there's a drill rig in that picture. Our tenement boundary goes pretty much right up to the doorstep of that mine. And we've done some reconnaissance type drilling around that on the edge of the pit system there. And I guess what we're looking for is to find additional breccia pipes that haven't necessarily come to surface. We think the easy things were found back in the 60s, and that's what has been mined. We've got a slightly different model where those breccia pipes haven't necessarily come through to the surface. They've got a little bit of stratigraphic cover over the top. But we do see hints of tin mineralisation in this area that we call Ardlethan East, in rocks that shouldn't have any tin mineralisation at all. All these sediments should be completely bland, but we don't. We see tin and other accessory minerals or elements in our soil geochemistry. We've done magnetics. We can see some interesting structural intersections through this area. So this is probably our second exploration front, of which there will be many more to come. We've got a vast pipeline of projects across our 1,500 square kilometres of tenure. But this is really where it gets interesting, I think, for you, ladies and gentlemen, and that's really the value proposition. There are only a handful of tin developers on the ASX, and in fact I've listed one here that's even on the LSC. There are other smaller players in the exploration phase, but this is it. If you want to participate in tin, you have to choose one of these companies, and they're all got great projects. I think our project is as good as, if not better. I think it's got its own advantages, but we are obviously at a slightly earlier stage on the development curve, which presents a fantastic value proposition for you. You're going to hear from some of these other companies today and find out why they're so good. We aspire to be at that level in a very short period of time. We've got a market cap today of about $30 million. Some of our peers are trading well over 100, 150. So that's the value proposition for you, ladies and gentlemen. So to wrap up, it's a very easy and simple story. Bygoo is a significant tin resource. We're aspiring to be the highest grade open pit tin mine in Australia. We've got very good metallurgical recovery. We know that once we've found it and mined it, we can extract it and get very good return on our investment there. We've got a drill program underway. We've done 5,000 metres so far. We've got another 3,000 metres to come. It's going to take us through to June. And then we're looking to bring all that new data into a resource update, hopefully in Q3 of this year. And that will be, I think, a great catalyst for the company when we grow that resource and can demonstrate a standalone production centre. And obviously, I think I've made the case for tin as a metal that you need to be part of. So, Chrissy, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the story.